Welcome guys to the new episode 2 of my vlogging. I had originally put the old episode 2 online on Saturday, but I didn't realize until watching my first video that it cut off. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up where I left off and finish the rest of the characters and hopefully get into the story today. I finished year 1 and year 2, so going on to the third year's main characters are, the first one is gonna be, well, it's a good thing I had to reshoot this because I had originally had 2 people in mind, but I decided as I started writing the story the other day to replace one of the main characters. Like, she's not gonna be cut from the story completely, she's just gonna be used as a supporting character instead, and I'm gonna promote one of the supporting characters to main. The reason being that is I decided to go in a kind of interesting direction with year 3, sorry, in that the 2 main characters well, let me get into it. The 2 main characters are gonna be Fozzie, who is Nick's best friend, and the other main character is now going to be Mackenzie, nicknamed Mac. And the reason behind her being promoted instead of the main character of Kimmy, who was originally main character, I'm sorry, is that I'm gonna make it so that the story in year 3 is different. Every year is supposed to be 16 episodes, 8 episodes per character, and most of the first 2 years are gonna be like rotating. Like you're gonna have, like, especially say like for the first year, you're gonna have like switching off between Bella and Jim. With the third season, it's gonna be a little bit different in the sense that, like, story wise, it's gonna make more sense because throughout the whole third year, Fozzie is supposed to be going after Mac. Like, he falls in love with her the first day he meets her in college, but he doesn't decide to tell her that he likes her until this year. But so you're gonna see the process of him going through that, and so that's gonna be like his whole story is gonna be told in the first 8 chapters, whereas the second half of the third season is going to be basically the same plot, but through Mackenzie's point of view. So you're gonna see 2 different viewpoints of sometimes the same story, and so that's why I decided to bump Mackenzie up and to drop Kimmy down to supporting. Lastly, in the last year, the 2 main characters are Raquel, who is, like I said, I believe I said in the first episode, who is Nick's ex-girlfriend and the only person that Jim actually knows before he moves into town in the beginning. She is, aside from, like, I guess, like I said, like, being those things, she's probably just like the most, I guess you could say, like, tomboyish out of all the girls, at least. She's in the college band. She's actually on the drum line because she was in drum line in high school. One of the features I did keep with her character from high school to college. But yeah, and the last main character is, her name is Christina. She actually has a bunch of different nicknames. Probably the biggest one being Tiny, because she is actually going to be, I'm not that short, but she's going to be pretty short compared to everybody. And she is actually Tali's younger sister. She starts the story in high school, I believe, and eventually in the last year she's gonna start college and she's gonna be with everybody else. And I just realized I glanced over the third. I didn't really say anything about the third season's characters. To elaborate on that, like, Fozzie is, I already said Nick, Fozzie's Nick's best friend. He is the jokester, hence his nickname. His actual name is Robert, but they call him Fozzie because of Fozzie Bear, because he makes a lot of jokes. And Mackenzie's nickname is Mac because, well, she's a big Apple fangirl and she loves technology. She's based on, I don't want to say, you might be able to guess it if you're really good at that, but leave it at that. Anyway, like, moving on to start a little bit of the story, I started writing a little bit of the basic plot the other day in what was originally the original episode 2, as you might be able to see, but the only things I have like for sure is like the opening, where I know that it's definitely going to be Jim moving into his dorm room, obviously, and meeting Nick, because I can already, there's nothing else I can really do to start that. Obviously it's always going to be him coming in, introducing himself, being like, hey, my name's Jim, and then Nick going around being like, hey, my name's Nick, nice to meet you. But yeah, I have that, and then I believe I'm going to do a couple of flashback episodes per year at least, to show a little bit of background and to keep some of the stuff that I had originally planned in the book without having it to transfer it to a college setting. I was gonna start with like the 3rd episode with Bella's character. She's gonna have a flashback to when she was in high school, when she first met Eddie, her boyfriend, and all of that jazz. And that's gonna basically help like establish her character, since she's going to have a couple of early chapters based around that. One of the things I'm going to do in the mid-season, there's a couple of sensitive subjects I guess I'm tackling in the first year. The first one is, in fact, a school lockdown where there are gunshots heard in the college campus, and everyone has to obviously go into lockdown. It's going to be through Bella's point of view. She's going to go through like all of that turmoil, and she's going to meet a boy named Jake. I'm sorry, but I'll get into that a little bit later. The other thing I decided on that I want to talk about is there is going to be a chapter I'm going to do towards the end that deals with Tally's ex-boyfriend, Andre. He's actually ironically going to be a good friend to Jim. I mean, if you've read the book, you kind of see it. He's not really that good friend, but in the book, he originally passed away, Andre, in a hurricane that was coming through town, and I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I definitely didn't want to do that story, because if I ever get to shoot this, I'm not exactly sure how the heck I'm supposed to do a hurricane. But so I decided to change it into something even a little bit more crazier, actually, in the sense that Andre's gonna basically bring Jim around and act as a vigilante, and that's gonna end up making him go a little weird. It's basically that episode's gonna be my tackle at the closest thing I can do to a real life superhero without him actually being a superhero. And I'll probably do a little more details on that as I move on into the story. I'm sorry if this all sounds a little weird, like a little general and stuff, but I'll get more detail into the story next time. Thanks for watching again.